Hi, this is Mariah Gullo from The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm here with RuPaul Charles today. RuPaul, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
I wanted to talk to you about your amazing Emmy win. It's your 2 consecutive years in a row that you've won for Outstanding Host.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
It's fantastic. I'm so excited that, you know, that people in the industry care enough to recognize us, because we've always known we have a show that's a lot of fun and that a lot of people are inspired by. But those kinds of awards, the Emmys and the Critics' Choice, that's the industry people. And once they finally come around and say, okay, we see you, it's a great thing. Because some of my favorite shows of all time have never won Emmys. Some of my favorite actors or hosts have never won it, and it's partially political, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So and who likes you at any given time, just like in junior high school. So I'm excited that the kids in our high school have decided to give us an award.
Yeah. What do you think are the key components that or when did you know that the industry was taking notice? What was the first time you noticed that?
Well, we had a huge switchover last season when we moved from Logo to VH1. VH1 has 93 million homes, and Logo, it's harder for people to see it on Logo because it's fewer homes. I think that had a lot to do with it. Also, I think what's happening politically in our country, in Washington, people are angry and they want to embrace the philosophy of the true American way, which is openness and lovingness and future forward, and our show embodies that spirit.
Right. And you've seen that turnover happen before. You've seen the culture shift, and how important is it to you that the industry, Hollywood, the entertainment business, embrace diversity and acceptance during a time when there's I don't know, I've called it a backlash before, but Jill Soloway corrected me and said it's not a backlash, it's progress, and there will always be resistance to progress.
There will always be resistance to progress. And let me just say first and foremost that Hollywood doesn't have a moral obligation. If you really want to break it down, Hollywood has a monetary obligation. So it does what makes money. That's bottom line. No tea, no shade. It's just the way it is.
Right.
So for creative people to rally around the true American spirit, which is about openness, it's about lovingness, that is important to us so that we can actually continue to do what we do. If everything shuts down in this sort of Gestapo, weird, dystopian craziness, then we won't have any work. We won't be able to be creative. So it's in our best interest to embrace things that embrace openness and free speech and different concepts.
Yeah, and when you think about it, we all have a limited amount of money to spend in the world, and you want to spend your money on things that make you feel good.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's humans are not really that complicated. The subconscious mind is usually running things, and sometimes the subconscious mind wants things that are not so good for it. Try to keep me away from that berry butter cake. And my subconscious mind is like, I'm gonna get it no matter what. But then the conscious mind, the truth is, I really can't afford to have that butterberry cake. I'm using that as an example because politically, a lot of people have rallied around this backward way of thinking because they're in fear, because they want something that's familiar. Berry butter cake is familiar to me. It makes me feel good, but it's ultimately really not the best thing for me.
Right. Regarding your own category, hosting, does hosting come naturally to you, or is it something you feel you need to work at? I know that you've been in the industry for a long time, but specifically to your show and how you host this show?
You know, it comes natural to me because I actually started out in nightclubs in New York, being an MC and hosting and doing all that stuff. So that part of it comes natural to me. Also, the team that I work with here are friends of mine from the East Village, and who they understand my voice. I understand their voice, and the writers have been able to really get what I'm about. So, you know, it's a marriage that is harmonious. So I think we all work really well together.
Can we talk a little bit about your performance as Emmy on the Emmys? How did you come up with that? Where did that come from?
Well, Stephen Colbert proposed it to me, and I initially said, you know, I actually don't want to do it because I'm not that fond of skits on award shows. Actually, award shows in general are usually not that funny. They're kind of forced, and everybody feels very stiff. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? Thank you for asking me, but I'm gonna pass, because we were in the middle of production here when we did it. And then he called me directly and said, Ru, let me just pitch you what this thing is. And he told me what it is, and I was on the floor laughing. I thought it was hilarious. I said, sure, I'll do it. So we made it happen, actually right here in the studio. They came all the way here. We're right now in Simi Valley, and we shot it, and I thought it was hilarious.
And who are you channeling for Emmy, that attitude?
You know, I'm actually channeling the grand dames of show business. I'm doing Faye Dunaway, Diana Ross, and a little bit of Jane Fonda. I'm doing all of that sort of, you know, that grand dame storyline.
Yes, oh, that's wonderful. So regarding Stephen Colbert, if Stephen Colbert could come onto your show, what would you have him do?
Oh my goodness, I would have him probably walk the runway in drag. There's a picture, his drag name is Raven, and there's a picture of him in drag where you would never really recognize him because your eyes would be locked on that juicy, fat ass. Have you ever seen that picture of him?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It's amazing. And I mean, that's the power of drag. It really does allow us, the viewers, to see isn't it just the dark side of the moon? Not dark in the sense of it, you know, being something evil or anything, but the other side of the moon. And it's really important, I think, for humans, especially at this point in our evolution on this planet, to recognize all sides of us. You know, we focus on really just one without understanding what's in the subconscious mind, what the other voices are. And that's why our show, I believe, is so important.
Speaking of your season 9 show, Emmy-winning season 9 show, you had a contestant on, Peppermint, who made it all the way to the top 3. Not the first transgender woman competing, but the first one to really talk about it on the show. Are you looking forward to kind of more firsts like that? Is it part of the evolution of the show? You
know, our show is, there's this magic element to our show that, you know, we produce it in advance, and we invite all the kids to come on our show, these showgirls, and then something else happens because because they come from such interesting backgrounds. All of this other story happens that we're shocked by. You know, we've come to expect that it's going to be a shocking season every single season, but I think by nature of what it is we're doing, which is deconstructing the images and deconstructing who we are, it just as humans, it invites these deeper storylines, and it's always been that way. And I can tell you, every single season something happens where we're like, what? Wow. And we are educated, the audience is educated, and we get to understand what identity is about, and how it works in our everyday lives. So it's shocking, but it's so much fun and so educational, and at the same time entertaining.
Yes. RuPaul, thank you so much.
Thank you.